Welcome back to the Lost Boyz Podcast, guys. This is episode 7. 7 weeks in.
Yep, 7. It's flying by, to be honest. Feels like episode 1 was yesterday.
For real, I remember sitting, a little slid that way in the dark, camera not being able to focus on anything.
Yeah. But,
we have a good one for today. We have, today we're talking about your social life, your social circle, who you keep around you, and why that matters and how to improve it. Today's going to be a good one. Probably one of our more, not to say important episodes, but definitely one of the more valuable episodes, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. I think this one applies to literally everyone, guy, girl, old, young, whether you're a tree or not, it doesn't matter. It applies to everyone. I was going to keep it going with that. I just decided to stop. You guys can't cancel me either way. I'm uncancelable.
Uncancelable.
Yeah.
I like that.
I'm going to say reckless things, and I want you guys to try to cancel me. Just know it's not going to happen.
It's impossible.
You can only be canceled if you stop. Anyways.
You got it. So first off, we want to talk about you look at your social life and understanding why your social life matters, why it's so important.
Yeah.
That's something that as much as people want to negate and say, I don't really need friends or anything like that, you kind of do. That's just one of those things that, even though they're more introverted kinds of people, the social life is important, man.
Yeah. And I agree with you. Again, I'm gonna just play a little bit of the devil's avocado real quick. There's some people who do say they don't need friends, right? So what would you say to people who say I do everything myself, I'm happy with myself, I do this, and this, I don't need people around me, they bring me down instead?
I mean, to those people, I would say you might, if you're first and foremost, if you're happy, you're happy. I'm not gonna knock nobody that's happy, right? Yeah. But psychology does not agree with you, because you might be able to find comfort in yourself, but there's a certain part of you that bases yourself off of other people. We gauge ourselves off of how we interact with other people. It could be the slightest interaction. It could be going to the supermarket, and then you realize you're stressed out to pay for your groceries. Oh shit, maybe you have some social anxiety, right?
Yeah.
You need some form of social interaction. It's on Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs. Fun fact. So for those of you who don't know what Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs is, Maslow was a psychologist, and he came up with a pyramid in order of needs that you need filled to be basically, not to say a happy person, but a fully functioning and healthy human being, right? So in ascending order, I have it written down right here. In ascending order, the first one are your physiological needs, right? Physiological needs being, you need water, you need food, need the science behind your body, the shit you need,
the fuel.
Right? Yeah. Next is safety, right? So now safety can change throughout time, but safety being, imagine employment, shelter, things like that. You need to make sure you can go to sleep at night and you're not going to be eaten by a pack of wolves. The third in ascending order is why I say social life is so important, because it's love and belonging. Now that can come from family, friends, that can come from work even. You need some form of, I don't want to use the word validation, but you need some form of interaction to make sure you are a functioning human being. Because what happens to, let me not say what happens. This is going to come off so bad, but when people when people spend too much time by themselves, you never actually challenge your way of thinking. So you can actually have culture shock when you realize how many people don't think the way you do.
Yeah.
And I think that could lead into a heavy level of, I want to say, narcissism. And not an intentional, I'm better than everybody else, but you fall into a trap of your own way of thinking, which we talk all the time about, how important it is to have people disagree with us, and making sure you're having these conversations.
Yeah.
But just to touch on the last two on the pyramid is esteem, which is basically social validation. You want status, you want that hierarchy in society.
You want to be accepted.
Yeah. And then the last one is self-actualization, which is basically you're at your peak form. You've checked off all the boxes. Now you're just flourishing.
Okay. So that's like when you master all four, then you get the fifth one.
Basically. Yeah, kind of thing. You exist in self-actualization.
Got it. Yeah, that's interesting. I agree with it, to be honest. I mean, I know it's like a psychologist who said it, so it has some like validity to it. It's not just like a blank statement. It has science behind it, but I mean, it makes sense to me. Like, I don't know, for me personally, whenever I hear somebody say like, "Oh, I hate people," I like immediately like, all right, I don't want to be around you. Like, you off the bat, you're already a negative person. Like, that's not somebody I want to hang around. So like, being that person who's always saying like, "Oh, I hate people. I can't stand people. This is not." You're actually making people, or at least I think, you're making people not want to be around you even more. True. So then you go from not liking people to then wanting to like people, and no one wants to like you now because of your attitude, your look at the world, all that. Like, you have zero optimism in you. And like, I don't know, whenever I hear somebody say I hate people, I know like, okay, like if I see them, I'll say hi, but I'm not hanging out with this person ever.
Those are the kind of people that have lived in such a pessimistic cycle.
Yeah, there you go. I was trying to think of the word. I couldn't.
Got you. Such a pessimistic cycle of, interaction where you kind of breed that. Mm-hmm. Like, if I'm sitting here focused on like, everybody is a shit person, right? You might be a great person, but I'm going to meet you and in the back of my mind treat you like you're a shit person. Yeah. Therefore, you're not going to want to talk to me, right? Yeah. Making me see you as a shit person.
Yeah, to be honest, too, like, when somebody negative, like, is around, at least for me, well, I don't really care in general, but I could see how for other people, like, their acceptance or their, what's the word you just used?
Like, validation.
Validation, yeah, there you go. So their acceptance or validation is almost like, not important at all. It's like, oh, you think I'm actually cool out of all the people? Oh, cool. I still don't want to hang out with you though. Yeah. Like, that's the way I see it. Like, excuse me, if somebody's like I said, super negative, like you look at them and you could tell they woke up, smelled the world, and got pissed. I'm like, and then you say, wow, you're actually one of the few people actually like, oh, okay, cool, but I don't want to be around you. Like, I want to be around optimistic people that are like trying to find the good. Trying to improve, trying to go to the next level, all those things, not hating people because people are people,
Yeah, look, not to be like one of those, like, your vibration and your energy, right? But like, you do carry a certain level of energy with you. That's why there's what's called like infectious people. Like, there are people who can just walk into a room and they're vibrant, they're high energy, they're talking, they're introducing themselves to everybody, versus you just walking like, oh, fuck all these people, right? Yeah. And everybody's gonna be like, oh, fuck is their problem, and go about their day. Yeah. And those are two very extreme, the two opposite ends of the spectrum, and most people will lie somewhere in between, but you want to align yourself a certain way where it's like, maybe you're not gonna outwardly go up and introduce yourself into everybody, but like, if an introduction happens, you're not going to shut it down right away.
Yeah. And it's crazy because, like, when I worked at the gym, I experienced both extremes. No, I wouldn't say extremes, but, like, both sides. So I had a coworker who, mind you, his life was shit. Like, everything you can think of that went wrong. He went to prison. He was working there after prison, but, like, he had spent, like, 9 years in prison. For pretty much his whole 20s was in prison. He had, like, 8 kids that he owed child support for that he couldn't even afford to pay for. The only job he could get was a minimum wage job at a gym. He was like in his 30s and stuff. But he was the most happiest, or at least when he was around us, he was the happiest and most optimistic person in the world. You did not come into that gym and not know he was there the whole time. Like, as soon as you walked in, you knew he was there. And like, you hear him from the music would be blasting, you still hear his voice all the way down, because he's just like, yo, what's up, man? Yo, how's everything, man? Everything's good? Awesome, bro. Like, this guy had every reason to be a shitty person and to hate the world and to treat everybody like shit. And instead he would find all the positives and treat everybody with respect, happiness and try to bring joy to their life. And then you have other people who have everything he didn't have. They had the money, they had the nice things, they have the family, they have this and that, and they come in and sometimes they would complain like, oh yes, it's too much energy. I can't stand him, whatever, because he has too much energy. What? Like, what's wrong with you? You have everything that people dream for, and you're so negative and down, and then you wonder why people don't treat you right or are assholes to you. Is because of how you treat other people.
Yeah.
Or you have this person who has everything going wrong for him, and instead he's looking at all the positives and beauty in life. And then you see who gravitates to who. So you see the people that start to like dislike and talk shit, and then you have the people that like actually gravitate, be like, damn, like, yeah, it could be overwhelming sometimes, but I like the intentions are good. I see it and I fuck with it. And so then at least for me, like I knew like, all right, these people I could rock with. Like, I could talk to them, I could be cool with them. The other people, they were talking, I was like, huh? But it wasn't even like, God damn it. It wasn't even like me trying to defend my coworker or nothing. But, like, the way I saw it was like, shit, that's the mindset everyone should have, no matter what's going on in your life. Versus these people. Like, these people live in a wealthy-ass town. They got everything, for the most part. And they're fucking complaining about somebody having too much energy. Like, what? That shit doesn't make sense to me.
So it's like, those people, right? The ones that are, let's say the high energy ones. Let's run with those people, right? There's something, as I was researching for this episode, I came across it, and it was talking about being reactive versus being a product, right? And it's like everybody has a choice to be one of the two things, right?
Yeah.
So take your coworker, right? Should stop having that bang against the table, I just realized. But take your coworker, right? Experience a lot of, let's say, negative, right? And chose to be reactive and say, all right, X, Y, and Z has happened, but you know what? I'm going to be better than that. And I'm going to be happy. And I'm going to, you know what? Try to be as much of a positive influence to other people as I can, right?
Yeah.
That's being reactive. And in certain cases, you want to learn the skill of being reactive because there are negative ways to be reactive too. But this just goes with learning yourself. But for this instance, you want to learn to be reactive in a sense of you want to overcome what it is you experience, right? The flip side of this coin is being a product. So take the same coworker who, you know, went to prison, experienced X, Y, and Z, but instead is like, nah, you know what? The world did me wrong. I'm going to do the world wrong again, or I'm going to do the world wrong even worse, right? Those people that you need to take it a mile further or can't change their way of thinking. I remember you brought up the
I don't know if I said it on here, the superhero and the villain. Yeah.
That's exactly what just came into my mind.
Yeah. Oh, you want me to explain it? I thought you were going to say it. Yeah, so basically the difference between a superhero and a villain is, let's say they both experience the same trauma. It's just two different responses to the trauma. So the villain has something done to them, and they say, because it happened to me, now everybody has to go through it too because it's not fair. And then you have the superhero who goes through it and says, instead he says, or she says, look, this is what I went through, and I hope no one else ever has to go through it, so I'm going to do everything I can to stop other people from having to go through it. And that's the only difference between a superhero and a villain. They both experience the same trauma, but have two different responses to it.
See, and to me that's so fire. Like, so fire, because it's so true.
Yeah.
Like, there's a thin line between being the person who overcame and being the person who could have overcame everything.
Yeah.
Like, and that doesn't mean like you have to go 0 to hero and, you know, serve prison sentences and become Jeff Bezos, but like just being, maybe that your definition of success in this situation is you find religion, let's say, or maybe you get a good job, or you work your way up, you learn skills, and you reach yourself to a point where you're comfortable with it, right? You're successful in your own sense, but you overcame the obstacle that is your past, right? And that's putting you in that hero category, as opposed to being the, you know, I feel like I wasted time, somebody else doesn't deserve their time, right? And then going down a totally different path.
Yeah.
Those are two very different kinds of people. And like, there's a certain level of admiration that comes with that first person. Like, we respect people like that. Like, yo, how you have so much energy at 6 a.m, dog? Like,
yeah,
and just high on life kind of people.
yeah, and yeah, to me, everything comes down to a choice. Like, in some cases, some people, I believe, some people, they always have the choice. It's just maybe not as apparent or clear to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then in other cases, it's super clear. And to prove, well, to back that up, I'll say, like, you have somebody who grows up in the hood, for example, and you become a product of your environment. So however you grow up is usually how you become, for the most part. There are sometimes exceptions, but like we always say, exceptions don't make a rule.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, well, I won't get too deep into it, but like, you have somebody who grows up in the hood. All they know is violence. All they see is violence. All they know is, the only thing they know is either I'm play a sport and get out, or I'm gonna sell drugs.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And then you have somebody who grows up in a very wealthy family, private schools, the best of the best. They drive a Mercedes, this and that. But then they try to be the person in the hood. At least the person in the hood didn't know no better. No one was there to tell that person, no, actually, you had, this could happen, this and this and this and this, and you could do this to get out. The rich person had everything given to them and the opportunity, they still chose that. And I blanked out. I forgot where I was going with it. What were we just talking about?
Just like overcoming your
So
past.
Overcoming the adversity. I forgot what I said though. I was trying to prove a point by saying this.
Sir, I'm not in your mind. I'm not exactly sure.
Anyways, to me, the person in the hood, I don't know, forget it. I lost my train of thought. I was saying it. I know I said something and I said this is my point to prove it, but I forgot what I said.
I mean, I would have guessed something along the lines of like we discussed earlier, the Cameron Terrell kind of case.
Okay, yeah. That's actually a perfect example.
Where it's like, you know, grows up, wealthy family, Mercedes, everything, right? But ends up in drive-bys and facing, you know, all these like murder charges and things like that, when it's like, you come from a wealthy family.
He came from a wealthy family and somehow managed to find himself as a rolling 90s Crip in LA. It's like, what? How did that happen? Like, what went wrong? And I mean, a lot of times it's deeper things like family life and stuff like that, but he had this environment where he could have been more successful. He put himself in a different environment, became a product of that. And that goes to show like how important the social circle is, because if you surround yourself with people who are trying to improve and get better and maybe trying to do legal things, not kill people, you probably will do those things. But if you surround yourself around people who are willing to kill people, you're probably going to be an accomplice or kill somebody. Like, you eventually, if you're around it enough, you become it.
It's true. Look at it this way. Let's say you have two friend groups that you could be a part of. In one friend group, you're going to be, let's say there's 5 of you guys, you're going to be the bottom tier one. Your 4 other friends, you know, maybe they wake up early, they work out every day, they study every day, you know, they're chasing, you know, ambitious people, right? Like, they're working on themselves, and you're the 5th person. Nobody, and I mean nobody, no fucking body likes to be the anchor of the group.
Yeah.
The one that, I'm falling behind. Nobody wants to be that person. So you will work based off of the inspiration you're getting from the people you're surrounding yourself with to pull yourself up. And you're going to build momentum in yourself based off of your social setting with these people. But take group number 2, whereas you're not the anchor, you're the lead, right? And you want to wake up early, you want to go to the gym, and you want to chase your goals, and you want to be ambitious, and you want to open a business or whatever it may be, or start the number 1 podcast on Mars, like and subscribe. But your friends don't. You're the top 1, so the rest are the bottom 4. They just want to, hey man, why you want to go to the gym? Let's chill, let's smoke today. Yo, bro, let's just go get some McDonald's, man. Don't cook that food, man. Like, they're gonna pull you down in that sense. Now, you might be, you know, head strong enough to keep on your path, but that social energy that they're pulling from you that's going to weigh you down. That's going to slow down your progress. And you might not think it in the moment, but everything is about compounding. It's all about momentum. It's all about down the line. After a year of that, you might not realize it, but they might have stopped quite a few opportunities for your growth. Just because if these are your friends, you're going to want to hang out with them. And you're going to spend time hanging out with them in maybe, scythe sessions or getting drunk or whatever it may be. Yeah. But instead, you might have made something might have finally clicked for you in whatever you're studying, or you're in the gym, or you start drinking. So now you're slowing your progress down because, listen, I like drinking as much as the next person, but it does slow you down. Yeah. And so you want to have friends that are going to propel you. And I'm using friends loosely. Just like you want to have a social life with people that are going to propel you to where your next level is. And you need to set that up for yourself. Not everybody's blessed to just fall into these groups.
Yeah, 100%. Like, everybody has a choice. And at the end of the day, you could either make the right one or the wrong one. Some people have the guidance to make the right one. Some people don't. Some people have the guidance and still make the wrong one. But at the end of the day, that choice is always there. And it's up to you. Like, maybe as a kid or whatever, you can't really... you always have the choice, even as a kid, as a social circle. Maybe your environment, there aren't many people that you can like really surround yourself by. But once you're an adult, like at that point, it's 100% your fault who you hang out around. And not only because like where you want to get to in life or being held back too, but sometimes you get into trouble and it has nothing to do with you. Like it's just because of the people you either knew or whatever. Like, let's say somebody, you're friends with somebody, you have no gang affiliations, but they're affiliated with gangs, and you're always hanging out with that person. You think the other rival gang cares? No. They're just gonna assume that you're a gang affiliated too, and now your life's in danger because a friend of yours decided to make a dumb decision. Let's say you're hanging out with your friends and they all have like pounds of drugs on them, or not even pounds, but they just have stuff on them, and you don't do drugs. You don't partake in it, you don't buy, you don't sell, none of that. But you just happen to be there that day that they get caught. They're whether you have stuff on you or not, they're just gonna automatically assume you were part of it, and now you got yourself in trouble just for hanging out with the wrong crowd. Yeah, it's like that kid, the 15-year-old kid that died in the Bronx a couple years ago. He wasn't in a gang. He wasn't in any of that, but his friends were in gangs, and guess what happened? They automatically assumed he was in a gang. And then he got killed for it. And he wasn't even in a gang. He had nothing to do with the gangs. He was just friends with people in it. But that alone got him killed. So it's super important who you surround yourself with.
That's crazy. I forgot about that. Like, that was huge. That was a big deal.
And it was because they thought he was a trinitario, but he wasn't. And his friend was a Crip, and another friend was like a trinitario or whatever. And there was like a beef going on with the gangs and a whole bunch of stuff. But he was always hanging out with them. Because of that, he got killed. Because they didn't even know. They just assumed he was part of the gang. And they caught him walking home alone one day.
Jesus, man. See, it's so important. Be careful who you surround yourself with. If you look at it's a cliche. You guys have all heard it a million times, and I'm going to say it 1,000,001th time, right? You are the sum of your 5 closest friends. Yep. If 4 of your friends are millionaires, you'll be the 5th. Yep. You're gonna want to propel yourself to be the 5th. If 4 of your friends are potheads, maybe you might not smoke. That doesn't mean you're gonna become a pothead, but you're gonna slowly develop habits of theirs. Like, it's exposure. Yeah. We absorb what we're exposed to the most. That's why we like a lot of the things we like. That's why we listen to the music we listen to. Like, exposure is so important, which is refreshing conversation. But that I can't wait for that episode. But let's say you're constantly being exposed to, rock music, right? Your entire life. Eventually, you're gonna be exposed to enough. You're gonna like rock music. Yeah. Right? That's just how it goes. Now, let's say you're exposed to a lot of people who read. Eventually, you will want to pick up the habit of reading. just because you're exposed to it so often.
Yeah, it influences you.
Yeah, there you go. I've been trying to figure out that word for the longest. Influence, right?
Yeah.
We seek influence, we seek guidance. And this isn't something like, oh, I'm sitting here trying to figure out, oh, I need to be guided. But naturally, we look at other people as their decisions have pre-selected certain things. So if, let's say, I respect you, right? I respect your taste in clothing, right? And I see you wear a brand I've never seen before. All right. Oh, snap. Gianni's rocking Banana Republic, right? I've never heard of them, right? But he's rocking it. It looks good. All right, yeah, I'll give him a try, right?
Yeah.
That's exposure.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes from a respectable source. But just as it's that way, that can go into the negative too. You know, you could be doing something, but it's like, oh man, but if Gianni could do it, man, I could do that shit too,
yeah.
right? And then, you know, some people might start wavering off of their path and can get mixed up in a lot of shit like that.
Yeah. And, I mean, this is a little different from what you were just saying, but, like, surrounding yourself with the right people also benefits you. Like, there's definitely tons of examples where people probably weren't in the best situations, surrounded themselves with the right people, and then became a part of the right, like, crowd, and then they became the successful person, the this and that, and overcame the adversity. But it didn't just happen because they were hanging out, you know, doing nothing all day, every day.
Yeah.
It's because they decided, okay, I see this is where these people's heads are at. I want something different for my life. I'm going to find new people that are where I want to be. And I'm going to try to get into that social circle and build my way up, kind of thing. And that's what everyone should be doing. Like, yeah, in some cases, you may have to cut friends off.
Yeah.
Like, it's inevitable. Like, if you guys aren't bringing value to each other, at some point you got to cut them off. And if you don't, then you got to be able to separate the two. Like, okay, these are friends that I have, and I'm gonna keep in touch with them. You know, I'll bullshit with them, whatever. But I'm not gonna spend very much time with them. It's gonna be very little and specific time.
Mm-hmm.
Where the bulk of my time is gonna be these people, because these people are getting me to where I want to be. They're helping me become a better person. This or that. Whatever it is that you're looking for, they're helping you get there. Whereas these people are just like, whatever. Or you may just have to cut them off in general. But that's part of it. And, like, these people are probably going to call you fake, this, Hollywood, this and that. Yeah. But, like, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Like, you got to do what's best for you. You know, they're not living your life. You're living your life. So do what you got to do.
Dude, you have to be greedy. You have to be greedy. I hate the negative connotation right now that goes on with, like, I don't want to say our generation, but, like, society right now. Whereas being greedy is a negative thing. Like, no, be fucking greedy. Understand. Look at yourself like a business, right? I work a job, right? I work for the owner of said job, right? If I'm not doing my job correctly or well enough, what's going to happen? She's going to look at the business and say, all right, well, there's a weak link here. This person's not doing their job. They're hurting the business. She's going to fire me, right? You're going to cut out said weak link and then throughout time, replace it with a stronger link, something that is going to do the job correctly. You know, it's going to bring value. You have to treat yourself like a business and say, imagine your friends. This is going to sound very negative, but whatever. Look at your friends like employees, right? If your employees were not doing the job right or not treating the job with respect, you would fire that employee, right? So why can't we treat our friends like that, where it's like, you know what, I care for you, I have love for you, but you're not bringing anything good to my life. You're actually taking away from my life. Or, you know what, every time, you know, I want to do something productive, you know, it's, you know, we're just not on the same wavelength kind of thing.
Yeah.
You have to get greedy for your own sake. You have to take control.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, to me, friend groups is part of your accountability.
Yeah. And like, you don't have to beef with them or like hate them.
No, yeah.
But just understand, we have two different visions. We're on two different wavelengths. I'm going to go this route. You go whatever route you want to go. If somehow you make your way into my route, shit, let's reconnect, let's
Yeah.
be boys again. But until then, you're on the sideline, you know, that kind of thing. And you have to do it. Like I said, if you want to get to that level, the only way you're going to get there, not the only way, but the most likely way you're going to get there is by surrounding yourself with the same people that are either already there or trying to get there. So that's just what you have to do.
Think about like-minded individuals.
Yeah.
You want to surround yourself with people that are going to help you get there.
Yeah, who are on the same path at least. They don't have to think the same, but at least if they're on the same path.
Absolutely. Like, that's why a lot of people say one of the biggest values of college is actually networking. Because you're surrounded, for example, if I'm a business major, I'm going to be surrounded with people who are thinking at least similar to me.
Yeah.
Right? In a certain sense.
Or you at least have a similar interest.
Yes. So with that similar interest, now you can start meeting people, making friends, right? And who knows how many stories, like, look at Facebook, right? Facebook was started by two guys who were friends from college, and they just brought on other friends from college. In a long story, in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Right? Like Mark Zuckerberg, Eduardo Saverin just brought their other college friends on board with it. Like, but that's a very extreme example. They built one of the biggest countries in the biggest companies in the world. But
yeah,
that's what can happen with having like-minded individuals around you, or people who can at least be open-minded enough to your vision, because there is a lot of value in difference too. Like, if you say real estate is the way of the future, and I say no, crypto, right? Guess what? That's a valuable disagreement, because now we can learn from each other.
Yeah, I could teach you the crypto, and you could teach me the real estate.
Exactly.
And now, instead of you just sticking to one path and me to one path, now we have two paths.
Yeah.
Now we have two doors and two options and two different streams of income and now you have more.
Exactly. That's a valuable difference.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, one of the things I want you guys to take away from this episode is look for valuable differences.
Yeah. And I think the biggest takeaway too is like the real estate and the crypto person, they have two different, I guess, things that they're doing. But if you really give it thought, the path is somewhat the same. Like the goal is the same.
Mm-hmm.
They're both trying to make as much money as they can. And they're trying to get to a certain level of success, whether it be financial or whatever it may be. So in a sense, you kind of share a similar mindset, even though it's two different paths, so it can kind of connect and work both ways in that sense.
You actually just reminded me of an example I wanted to bring up earlier when we were talking about like network and all that. Is let's say you are looking for somebody to fill that weak link, right? And I meet you, and you know a lot about crypto, right? And, I don't know anything about crypto, but, I'm listening to you talk about crypto. And eventually, like, we become friends, right? So now I start hanging out with you and your friends, right?
Yeah.
And your friends know a lot about crypto. I still don't know anything about crypto, right? But I'm listening to you guys talk, and I'm absorbing it. I'm just, being a sponge and actually learning the differences here, because, I don't have the knowledge of that. But after enough conversations, this is like the ice cream example, after enough conversations of listening to you guys talk about crypto, and I'm going about my life and I'm meeting other people, and all of a sudden somebody brings something up about crypto, I might know something because of all the conversations I've witnessed and absorbed with you talking about crypto, right? So now the little bit that I know might be of value to somebody else who doesn't have that. Guess what? Now, the valuable difference that was created in this relationship, I can now bring value to somebody else in a different relationship, making me worth more, a higher value as a person of interest, a network, so that people want to be friends with you now.
Yeah.
Because you can bring value.
Exactly. And that's the whole point. That's why you want to surround, like I said, same path. It doesn't, or their same goals in a sense. Like, it doesn't have to be the same exact thing. Like you said, the real estate, the crypto, but the goal is the same. They're trying to make money. Like, no one's trying to sell a house and go through all that struggle and work for free. Yeah. And no one's spending hours on the crypto markets just to look at them like, oh, wow, that's cool. Like, no, they're trying to make money. They're trying to make money, and they're trying to get to a certain level of whether it's financial or whatever it may be. and so they both share a similar goal, or at least a mindset. So that's how like it can work. It doesn't only have to be like, okay, I want to do videography, so I'm only going to hang out with videographers, which is not a bad idea. But you could also hang out with other people, with photographers, and learn from them. Maybe there's a trick that a photographer has that helps your videos. Maybe there's a trick from your videos that helps the photographer. Now you both could work together. Now you have a new network. Now, and then you can grow and like that. Now you have a photographer and you're a videographer. Now you could start a production company.
Yeah, a whole production company.
Yeah, now you have a new, maybe somebody's an editor. Now you have a photographer, an editor, and a videographer. Who knows? Now this person's a director. You all do different things, but it all comes together and works together. So now you have a whole new social circle and network. Now you have that production company, and you're running a nice and smooth boom. And now everybody's making money. Everybody's getting to their goals that they want, and that's the importance of one, social circle, but two, the network. And I think that's a good point. One very good thing about college is network. I would definitely say, you definitely meet people, and network is super important because, let's say even that's not the case. Let's say in your social circle is people who are trying to be, CEOs of businesses or whatever the case, whatever it is, they want to be a somebody in a business or wherever it is that they do for work. Because you're friends with them, now you have a network. So now maybe a job opening happens and you're tired of your job, and now they could get you in. And you may not be qualified, you may not be experienced, but everyone knows that there's people who get jobs solely based off who they know. And most of the times the promotions that come within jobs comes because let's say the VP knows you, and because they know you and you built a good relationship with them, they decide to promote you instead of the other person, even though the other person has more qualifications. But because they have a friendship with you, they'll take you over that. And that's the importance of the social circle and the network.
Dude, one of the most important forms of marketing, right? Marketing yourself, whether you're trying to get a job, if you have a business, one of the most important forms of marketing is word of mouth. That power of word of mouth of, hey, Mr. Johnson, I know we just lost an accountant, but, I know somebody who is well-versed in accounting, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sure, let's bring him in for an interview. Doesn't have the qualifications, right? The chances of that person getting the job is so much higher just because of, like you said, that word of mouth is powerful.
Yeah, that is the most powerful marketing, word of mouth, because you're getting the information from a source that already did it and trusts it, so it makes you more open to it versus coming in blind. Like when I worked at a gym, one of the most we took we kept track of all the marketing stuff. So like every time somebody came in, we always asked, how'd you find out about us? Because the goal was to have the majority of the people that came in to sign up find out about us through word of mouth, not even through, even though they were paying for like Facebook, for all the social media marketing, Google, the Google ads, all that stuff. What they really wanted was word of mouth, because the word of mouth spreads way faster and is way more powerful. If you have word of mouth, it'll go 10 times further than anything else.
Oh yeah, dude. It's like, there's something that we admire about information that comes from people. And I guess this is on the rise of the digital age and everything like that. Like, we see ads every day on every single platform ever. Yeah. Even in my fucking dreams, I'll see an ad, right?
Yeah.
Shout out Mark Zucks. But there's something about, like, I can see an ad for a clothing line, but you can tell me, yo, this brand makes dope shirts, right? Mm-hmm. The chances of me buying are way more powerful with it coming from you.
Yeah.
There's that, it's like a certain level of trust that's built in when we hear it from another person.
Yeah.
It's powerful thing.
And again, it all comes down to a social circle. So you build that network and everything. Like they say your network becomes your net worth.
Mm-hmm.
And to an extent, I think that's very true. Like, if you're, like I said, if you're surrounded by a bunch of like CEOs and millionaires, well, then eventually you're going to become that millionaire. And if you don't, you're going to drop off very quick because you're going to feel embarrassed. Which you shouldn't. You should use that as motivation to work harder and pick off each of their brains to help you get there faster. because they can literally mentor you and teach you, no, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. So you expedite the process, which is the importance of it. And like for myself, like one way networking has helped me, which not so much network. Well, yeah, I guess it's considered networking, but having that social circle is like, I'm trying to get into tech sales, and I have been struggling, and it's because I don't have the experience in tech sales already. But because I know people that are in tech sales, I've at least been able to get interviews, and that alone has been preparing me for that opportunity when it presents itself. Now I know, okay, I have this much more knowledge. I know this much more about the job. So even though I may not have the experience as somebody else, at least I could come into it with somewhat of a powerful punch kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a novice at all, even though I may not have the qualifications at the moment kind of thing.
It gives them more inspiration to give you the chance.
Yeah, but I'll tell you right now, if I didn't have the network, no chance I'm getting that interview.
Oh, yeah.
100% no, because I tried doing it myself and I got 0 calls back. The minute I went through my network, 100%, like right there, boom. Within like a week or 2, I got an interview. It didn't work out. They took somebody with experience, but I at least got the interview, which would not have happened without it. I would have had to go through way more.
Hey, dude, listen, I'm a big believer in volume, man. Eventually, right, just landing those interviews, it might take 10, 20, 30, whatever amount of interviews it takes. Eventually, you will land that fucking job just off of the way, like, of volume, the numbers, the way the numbers work. I wanted to say this real quick. When you said about, like, you know, having the opportunity, this popped in my head. Opportunity knocks on the door of preparation.
Yeah.
Like, even though you don't have that experience, you're still taking advantage of your resources and preparing yourself for, you know, when you do get that interview. And then, you know what? You went through that interview. You bodied that interview. It didn't work out, but guess what? You're that much better now for the next interview.
Yep.
To the point where, you know, eventually somebody's going to interview you and say, you know what? All right, this candidate, they don't have necessarily have the qualification, but, you know, they were a home run. We loved it. We see a potential in this, right? We'll take the chance. Bam.
Yeah.
That's preparation.
Yeah. There's a quote that says not preparing at all is preparing to. I think it's like this. No preparation is preparation for failure. Something like that. I think I said it right. But that's pretty much the gist of it. Like, by not preparing, you're actually preparing for failure. If you do prepare, then you have at least the opportunity or the chance of success. But if you don't prepare at all you're doing is setting yourself up to not get whatever it is. That's like saying, like, that's like waking up and saying, man, I hope I get $1 million tomorrow. And then you just lay in bed and scroll on social media for the whole day, and then wake up the next day thinking that $1 million is just going to pop up. You did nothing for it.
Yeah.
So
it is true. Like, you gotta look in what is it that you're putting in, right?
Yeah.
Whether that be for your friend group, whether that be for your businesses, for your degree, what are you putting in? Like, you can't have a car, put in a quarter tank of gas, and then be tight that, you know, the car ran out of gas down the street.
Yeah.
Like, no, you didn't fill it up. You didn't empty the bucket. You didn't put forth the effort to get the outcome that you wanted.
Exactly.
I know I need to drive 100 miles. I'll just make sure I could go like 25. Like, no, nobody thinks like that. So why would you think like that in terms of your goals?
Yeah, exactly. And so with that being said, we're going to transition now.
I went on a little rant right there.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about how to build a strong social life and a social network. It's funny, social network is actually the name of the Facebook movie. But yeah, we're going to, you know, get into that a little bit and, you know, try to cover as much as we can. Hopefully we could touch everything. But if we don't, ask some questions in the comments down below and let us know what you think or any questions you would like for us to address. We are going to be starting a TikTok, so we could address those personally through TikTok as well.
Agreed, yeah. Now, be on the lookout. Lost Boyz TikTok coming very soon. By the time this airs, it'll be up and running.
Yeah, so we'll have the clips running out. So. And
same thing, we touched on this last episode, like you mentioned. If you have any questions, anything you want us to talk about, DM us on Instagram, comment on the YouTube videos, hit us up on TikTok, hit us up through fucking Telegram if you have to. Send a messenger pigeon and we will answer.
Yeah.
I promise.
It's funny because you meant Telegram as like the old machine, right?
Yeah.
But there's actually an app called Telegram.
That app?
It's actually popular too.
I'm dead. I've never heard of it.
That's how people communicate and stuff.
That's actually genius idea for
it. It's been blowing up recently. I've been seeing and hearing it a lot more.
Well, I definitely meant the old one.
Yeah.
But
Morse code. But yeah, so with that being said, our first point on how to build a better social life and network is to surround yourself with people who embody the characteristics that you want. So if you want to be stronger, hang out around stronger people, and you're going to learn how to get stronger. If you want to get faster, hang out around faster people and you'll learn how to become faster. If you want to get smarter, hang out around people that you think are smarter and you'll learn how to get smarter.
It's true.
Like, it's all about putting yourself in the situation and the position to learn.
Listen, I'll give you a personal example. I've mentioned this on the podcast before. I wanted to get better at talking to people, right? Like, I used to be extremely introverted.
Yeah.
I started hanging out more with, kids from the baseball team that I saw were just, naturally more able to exert themselves in conversation and just go and approach people. And seeing them do that at the time I was working at McDonald's was like, you know what? Let me try that. And I just started having more conversations with people, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot that played into that, but it's the exposure to that started me on a journey of improving my social skills. That's not a good term to use, but like becoming a more conversable human. That's not a word. Sociable. There you go. Shout out this guy's brain, right? A more sociable person, whereas now I feel like I can have a conversation with a stranger, right? But it's all about like the people you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
For example, another example is like, wanted to get better with finances, you gotta talk to people who know finances. Like you mentioned, if you want to learn more about the gym, surround yourself with people who go to the gym.
Yeah, exactly. And that might not everyone might accept you, but you'll find somebody, at least one person. That one person is going to introduce you to another person, to another person, to another person. Not only that, let's say your initial goal is, I want to get stronger. So you find somebody who's strong and you start hanging out with them, and they introduce you to that friend. And then all of a sudden that friend is, let's say he's into crypto but also working out. And now you're like, oh shit, what's crypto about?
Mm-hmm.
He tells you, and now you're interested. Now you know how to get stronger, and now you know how to get into crypto. And then that crypto friend introduces you to another friend. And now you learn real estate or whatever it is. And they're like, now you know three different valuable skills. Yeah. How to get stronger, you could become a personal trainer. Crypto, you can make money.
Sky's the limit with that.
Real estate, you know how to sell homes. You can sell homes, all that stuff. Then maybe from that, you meet somebody who gets you into commercial real estate. Now you know how to sell like leases and all the types of
wild come up, by the way.
Yeah, and then maybe from that you meet somebody else who's an investor, and now you learn how to do property investments. And then like it keeps growing. Like that one action can lead to many other actions. Like I always say, the butterfly effect.
Yo, facts. But like it I realize we're talking about it very external, circumstantial, like reward based. It doesn't even have to be like that either. Yeah. Let's just say I admire how composed you are during high pressure situations, right? Like that's a very admirable characteristic. So what happens? You start surrounding yourself with people like that. Like, yo, you know what? You're always so composed. I'm gonna surround myself with you more. So, because eventually you're gonna be exposed to a high pressure situation.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean like it has to be anything crazy, but witnessing that in person, like you're just gonna see it. You're gonna start observing. You're gonna start becoming a sponge to it, and you're gonna be able to firsthand learn how to build that skill. So it doesn't even have to be just something like, I want to learn how to trade crypto or sell houses. It can be something as like internally as well.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be something that big too. It could just be like you said, a behavior or anything like that. It could just be like, it could be something super small, like I don't know, I want to get on a baseball team, and then like I think that's a perfect, like you get on a baseball team, then you meet people that way, and then within those people that you meet, Now you decide, okay, I like these people, I like these people. These people bring value to me, this, that. All right, I'm going to surround myself with them. Maybe one of your teammates, well, I'm bringing it back to like, you get a reward for it. But like, you should be able to get a reward if that's what you desire.
Yep.
You know, like that option is there because you're surrounded by the right people. You may not need it or have to exercise that, but at least the option is there. Whereas like if you're hanging out with a bunch of friends that all they do is smoke weed, drink, party, play video games, work 10 hours a week at most, and like just sit on their ass and do nothing at all, that option is never available. So now you're in a situation where you're trying to get somewhere, and it's much more difficult because you don't have the right people around you to help you get there, kind of thing. And then also, like you said, like whether it's behavioral, emotional, spiritual, whatever, any of those things, it could be that. Like it doesn't have to be just for job or for money. It could be, like you said,
a characteristic. Listen,
yeah.
The reward is what you want it to be, right? It can be anything. And it's also good we touched on this briefly, but understanding, all right, let's say you know what it is you want to get from said person, like understanding how to go about even approaching them, right? Something as simple as, hey man, I admire the way you push through the last sentence, right? I don't know, this is hypothetical off the top of the head, but like yo, just commending somebody, or just like, yo, good shit on the last rep, right? I thought you was about to leave me hanging. I was about to end the podcast right here. But nah, like, yo, I admire, like, yo, good shit, bro. You push through, like, yo, dope, man. Like, you fought that last set, right? Something as simple as that. Now that's it. There's a connection there now. Like, I don't even need to get your name, but I'm gonna know you as the guy at the gym who like commended me. That right there is enough to, whenever you're ready to just be like, yo, like, you know, start that conversation and building that relationship, you broke the ice already.
Yeah.
Like, we tend to remember strangers, believe it or not, in a certain way, where it's like, if somebody compliments somebody else, that compliment sticks with you.
Yeah.
So if you want to become cool with somebody, I'm not saying, just go out and drop compliments like that, which there's nothing wrong with that either, but be genuine about the way you go about it. Like, if I like the way you dress, be like, yo, I fuck with the way you dress.
Yeah.
It's a dope hoodie. Something as simple as that.
Yeah, like you're saying it because you actually mean it. You're not just saying it for like a motive or for a reason behind it. Like,
be genuine about it, but like approach the situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I had something I was going to say. I just completely forgot it. I'll let you keep going. There you go. I remember what I was going to say, actually.
Let's go.
Also, like, something I would say is, like, don't feel like maybe because you're not where you want to be, or that you can't ask those questions or talk to those people, or you think less of yourself with those people. Like, not at all. Because if you actually reach out to those people and try, especially the younger you are, but in general, just try, you actually see that a lot of them actually want to help people and share their information. It's just a lot of people don't ask.
Yeah.
So they never get a chance to tell. So they don't want to, maybe some people don't want to come off as, you know, somebody who's braggy or any of that, or arrogant. So they just keep it to them. Like, you could be, for example, actually, better example, I saw a podcast recently, and a guy, he's a millionaire. He owns $1 million. Like, I think his tech company did $100 million last year, and he has a personal trainer, and he says he's been training with the same guy for a long time now, and he himself hasn't brought it up to the personal trainer, but he asks himself all the time, why doesn't this guy just like ask me what I do for a living? And like, I'll tell him everything and how to do it, but he just won't ask me. And it's like that simple. Like, you just have to ask. Like, don't think, because I work at 7-Eleven, I can't. No, that's probably the best time to do it. You know how many people come in and out of there?
Oh, dude.
Just ask people, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Eventually somebody's going to say something that might spark your interest. Be like, yo, is it cool if like I get in touch with you so you could explain it more to me or something like that? And they'll probably be happy as hell to do it.
Oh, dude.
Like, you'd be very surprised.
Listen, and obviously this doesn't mean everybody, right? I'm pretty sure there's going to be an asshole somewhere who's going to be like, nah, right? Mm-hmm. But for the most part, people like helping people.
Yeah.
For the most part. Like, if they can teach you, not to say they're going to take you under their wing and turn you into their student, but like, maybe they'll give you a little bit of advice, right?
Yeah.
And then part ways with you like that. That's still a little bit of advice that you wouldn't have gotten if you didn't just ask.
Exactly. Like, again, when I worked at a gym, I always bring up the gym working there because you meet a lot of people, a lot of different people, different professions and all that stuff. And for the most part, everyone kind of looks, no one comes in there and looks like they got crazy money. Like, people are going to work out, so they're wearing like sweatpants, you know, just regular bummy clothes kind of thing. But I had this one coworker who actually helped me start to ask questions because I would never ask, but I was always curious. But he didn't care. He would straight up ask, like, yo, what do you do for a living? In his case, he was trying to get into real estate. So he started asking people, yo, are you a real estate agent? No. Are you a real estate agent? No. Are you a real estate agent? No. Are you a real estate agent? Eventually, one person came in, I'm not a real estate agent, but I have real estate investments and properties. Oh, word? How do you go about that? Like, what do you do to get that? You know, the guy gave him the entire game plan. Said, listen, you save up this much. Get an FHA loan. Make sure it's multifamily. Do this. Charge the top floor this much. Charge the second floor this much. You live in the basement. Now you're getting your mortgage paid. You're getting monthly income, and you're living for free.
That's heat.
And then you do this, this, and this. Just get to this amount. Build up your credit score. Do this, do this. He gave him the entire game plan. That right there. Like, he didn't even like know him. Just right there, he just got hyped. He was talking about him. Then every time he came in, he was like, yo, you working towards the goal? You working towards the goal? Yeah. And everything. And then eventually, I don't know if he got it now because he doesn't work there no more. But at least he put himself in the position to have the knowledge and be able to. Whereas if he just stayed quiet, he wouldn't have known that.
Yeah, dude. That could be $1 million worth of game right there.
Yeah. Bro, it was literally just asking people. He was interested in real estate, and he just started asking everybody that came in, are you a real estate agent? Are you a real estate agent? Are you a real estate agent? Until eventually he didn't meet the real estate agent, but instead he met somebody who taught him how to invest into real estate. Yeah. So the person was literally teaching him how to make money off the real estate instead of having to sell the real estate.
Dude, that could be passive income too.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I think that little play you just said right there just went over everybody's heads, like how valuable of a lesson that is.
Yeah.
Because you think about it, it's like, not to go on a real estate tangent, I'll bring it back in a second, but like, you don't have to be making absurd amounts of money to buy a house.
Yeah.
You just have to be making absurd amounts of money to buy the house you're thinking of.
Yeah.
But
it's a game plan. You gotta learn how to play the game.
Exactly. But like, it's so valuable to asking questions, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Like, what you might think in your head is a dumb question is really probably a stepping stone to get you to where you need to go. Like, that person was probably like, yo, it's probably dumb that I'm asking everybody if they're a real estate agent.
Yeah.
But guess what? The value they got in return was way more important than looking dumb for asking that question.
And it was obvious. He had a goal, and he was trying to do what he can to reach that goal. And so he did what he had to do. And he's actually a good example, too, where he grew up in not the best environment, not the best household, saw probably not the best of things, but chose, I'm going to stay away from all of those. I'm not going to touch that stuff because I already saw what it does it can do to people. I'm not going to do this, and that. He learned from his environment, and he said, all right, I'm going to try to find the network to get myself out of it. And that's what he was doing by asking people questions. He found the network, and he started making moves and making things happen. And by asking questions too, like, you may hear somebody say something and you're like, what the hell? I didn't even know you could make that much money off of it. I didn't even know. That's interesting. How does this work? Like, I remember one time I was in the city and I saw a Ferrari, and a guy was like just wiping his Ferrari down, like parked on the side, and I was across the street. And I told my friends, yo, I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna go ask him what he does. I crossed the street and I went up to him. I was like, hey, listen, like, I'm just curious, like, what do you do for a living? Like, what is it that you're doing that I'm not doing that you can afford a Ferrari? And he was like, you know what he said? He said, oh, I own Pilates studios. He had a Ferrari off of like 3 Pilates studios he owned in the city. And I was like, Pilates student. I was like, damn, I didn't know you could make that much off of it. And I asked him, I was like, yo, how'd you get started? He was like, I took whatever credit cards I had and just took out loans. And I just said, F it, I'm gonna do it. And if it fails, it fails. But I'm gonna try and make it happen. And it worked out for him. But he took the chance and everything. But that opened my mind up. I was like, oh shit. Like, you can make money in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows, maybe you want to own a Pilates gym and he happens to be that person. He did not look like somebody who owns a Pilates gym, I'll tell you that much. He looked like he was probably like a stock person. And maybe he was just lying. I don't know. But that's another option, right? Now you open the door and you're like, oh shit, actually I've been trying to open a Pilates gym. Can you like give me some advice, a game plan, things like that? So you got to ask questions too.
A simple question like, what advice would you give to somebody trying to start out in opening Pilates studios?
Yeah.
Like simple questions. Just moral of this is, don't be afraid to fucking ask.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you have? What do you have to lose when in an interaction like that, like this, right?
Yeah.
The worst they can say is no, or
Yeah.
I don't want to talk. Right?
Yeah.
Guess
I don't
what?
want to answer that. Okay, cool.
You carry on about your day. Right? But you have everything to gain.
Yeah.
Like, take that person. I really gotta stop saying like, but take that person, right? Asked about the real estate. They didn't get the answer they wanted. They got a different answer. Probably something that person can implement for the rest of their life.
Yep.
And can generate life-changing income off of that.
Yeah. Not only that, I'm pretty sure they exchanged their information with each other. So now he has someone to ask questions. Now he has a new social circle. Now, even though it may not be a big social circle, it's just him and that guy. But eventually he's gonna. Actually, no, I shouldn't say that, because that guy introduced him to his real estate agent, so that brought a third person. So now he actually has the source for real estate and for real estate investments. Dude. And the real estate agent probably has somebody who's a brokerage lender or mortgage lender, whatever it's called. So now that's another avenue. So now he's just learning game from all of them. Like, it went from asking one question to now having that social circle and putting himself in the position he wanted to be in. But it's all about making it happen and not waiting for it to fall on your lap.
Exactly. Listen. Closed mouths don't get fed.
Exactly.
Like, also, this doesn't have to even be in person, too. Like, you see somebody on Instagram, right? Let's use the same fucking example. That person, right? Maybe he doesn't have the means to ask people in person, but you know what? Goes on Instagram or goes on Facebook, right? LinkedIn is crazy for networking. Gold mine for networking, but types in real estate agent, or real estate agent, insert your state here, right? And now just starts DMing, hey, I would like to become a real estate agent. I just have some questions, right? And just, let's say he sent this out to 100 local real estate agents, right? Maybe 3 of them answer, and maybe out of those 3, one of them gives you valuable information. Guess what? It took some time to do all that, but you left with the information. So it doesn't only have to be in person. Like, yeah, in person is more, I would say more valuable, because there's something special about building a true face-to-face connection. But don't hesitate to do it over the phone either. Send an email or, a DM, right? Yeah. Obviously handle yourself a certain way. Like, if you're going to reach out to somebody, come correct. Like, make sure your grammar's on point. Don't be like, I got some questions, right? Like, no, like, you have to be respectable. Yeah. Like, and that goes in person or over the phone, right? If I come to you with respect and I'm obviously seriously passionate about the questions I'm asking you, you're more likely to want to answer said questions or to interact.
Yeah. Exactly, and I 100% agree. And that's why I'm going to take this opportunity to ask a question to the viewers. If anyone is in the tech industry, or one that also, my other thing that I want to get into is videography / directing, please comment down below or send me a DM or something, because I really want to get into those fields and do something with that. But I need the right people, because I need them to help me get in, because right now I'm struggling. I have one connect, but it doesn't hurt to have more.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have one connect for the tech, but when it comes to videography and directing and the editing stuff, I have no one. So that's something I want to get into, and I may end up hating it and stopping, but I at least want to try. But I want to find that network and those people. And not only that, if they're into the music industry, something else I have interest in is producing. So maybe I can meet somebody who happens to be a producer and helps me that way, you know? So if any of you are in videography, directing, editing, and the tech industry, please send me a DM. I'd love to connect with you, talk in person, hang out, and pick each other's brains and get to know each other.
What's your IG?
It's at Gianni Rosado, my name, Gio, not an A, an O, NNIROSADO.
I'll put it on the screen too. But now, look, something as simple as that. You know, this goes around.
And maybe no one responds. But who knows? Maybe one person does respond, and that one person can end up changing my life. So
it's true.
It doesn't hurt to ask, man. And I'm being super genuine when I say that too. Like, please, if you're in any of those, like, please reach out. Like, I've been dying to get into it, and I've been trying to get into it too.
It's true. I've witnessed it. He's telling the truth. Look, that's the power. One of the beautiful things about the internet today, like a little side tangent here, coming warning, but the internet has connected people from, like, let's say somebody does reach out to you, right, and helps you out. How would you have met that person? The chances of you meeting that person in person so slim.
Yeah, who knows? The person could hear that from freaking, I don't know, Canada or California. I don't live in Canada or California. There's no way I would have been able to connect with them. But you can, that's another thing, use the power of social media to your benefit. There's Facebook groups you could join. You go to Instagram pages that are of your interest. Go to the comments, see people who are commenting, go to their pages, look at them, maybe find someone that interests you, friend them, send them a DM, hey, I see we share similar interests, man, I'm trying to get into this, you think you can help me? Probably going to get left on red a lot.
No, yeah.
But it doesn't hurt to try. All it takes is one person the one right person to respond. Now you're in.
Dude.
No.
Instagram, search by hashtag, then put your location, and you will find at least something relative to what it is you're searching for.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, Facebook groups, powerful. Listen, Facebook, it's meta now actually.
Yeah.
Is so big. There's, what is it, like 1 billion users on it? Like some crazy number. You can find at least a handful of people that are in your niche, whatever the correct word is, that you can, this is another thing too. Don't be reach. Bring value to them too.
Yeah.
Understand how you can bring value. Now, it doesn't have to be a 1-for-1 kind of thing, like, you teach me this, I teach you this kind of thing, but just being an ambitious person and having a different set of skills could bring value in return.
Yeah.
Like, maybe a videographer is like, you know what, man, I'll help you with this. How'd you get started in the gym? Like, something like that. Like, bring value to, like, nobody likes the, what is it? I think the term is a grifter. Where it's like you just take and doesn't, like, give. I'm not sure I'm using that correctly.
Yeah, but, I'm not too sure.
But, you know, like, think of others. Honestly, I would even say lead with value. When you're trying to build a connection, lead with value.
Yeah, definitely. You could do that too.
Like, it plays a big factor, and you'll realize when you lead with value as opposed to what you can gain, how many people you can attract.
Yeah.
And it's up to you to sort them out, but then you can attract the right people.
Yeah. And leading with value doesn't mean you have to know something that no one absolutely knows. Like, it could even be something that they already know, but the fact that maybe you come in and you even share that you even know that. It shows, okay, wow, okay, this person I could tell is actually serious. Like they actually did some research about it. That they're interested.
Yeah.
So that alone, even though the person already may know it, and maybe it doesn't help them out, but the fact that they see that you're actually trying is enough for them to be like, all right, I'll take you under my wing, kind of thing. Like, just say what you know. Like, maybe it's not enough value, but maybe it is. Like, there's some basic things that I may know that person may not, or I may know it, and so does that person, but that is enough for that person to be like, all right, I could tell he's serious. I got you. Like,
yeah,
you showed enough interest and you expressed enough information for me to be like, okay, your mind is definitely here. Like, you're not just bullshitting me right now. That kind of thing. Like, you don't have to know. Like I said, you don't have to know something that they don't. Probably helps if that's the case. But the fact that you even shared knowledge that you do know something is enough for them to be like, okay. Or like, let's say in my case with directing, right? Maybe I hear a song and I share a vision and how this can go this way and this way and this way. And maybe the other person didn't think of it that way. And they're like, oh shit, that's actually a dope idea. Now they're interested in working with me. Now like, all right, yeah, I can work with you because I like how your mind works. You know, it's just that in a sense is bringing value.
Yep.
You know, it doesn't have to be like, a secret that no one else knows. That's not the case.
And sometimes value could just be being a good person, bro. Like,
yeah,
like being a genuine person.
Maybe the value you bring is a characteristic trait.
Very true.
It may not even be like the skill. It may just be like, yo, I like how he's such a genuine person. I want to become more genuine now. And that alone is enough value that they want to be surrounded by you. Or, damn, he has a lot of ambition. I want to be more ambitious like him. Or her, or whatever the case may be. Like, that alone is enough. Like, it doesn't have to pertain to that specific skill or task or whatever it is. It could be a characteristic trait. So obviously that means, carry yourself a certain way. Carry yourself however you want people to treat you is how you should carry yourself, so that you should treat people the way you want to be treated.
Yes.
In a sense, so you should carry yourself in that way. That way you can be treated that way that you want.
Yeah, what you put out is what you're gonna receive.
Yeah. What goes up must come down.
It's true. Like, the energy you give to others, maybe you might not get the same energy in return in a certain way, but eventually you're gonna meet the kinds of people that are gonna give you that energy in return.
Yeah, exactly. Eventually that energy will come and find you, or you will find it. Actually, I should say. I shouldn't say it should come and find you, because then that means you're gonna wait for it. No. You eventually find the energy that you're looking for. It may not happen. It may happen right away. It may happen years later. But if you just keep trying, it's gonna happen eventually. But with that being said, I think we've gone through a decent amount of points. We've gone through some good content.
Yeah, we did.
In my opinion, we talked about the importance of social circle, how you can become products of your environments, whether good or bad. The importance of networking that comes from social circles, how to build a strong social circle, all that.
Just figuring out how you can bring value to other people. Or let's even reiterate this. It's, surround yourself with people that you want to be more like.
Yeah.
Or, you want to improve yourself with, right? I would say that's step one of building a strong circle. Remember, when you analyze, first, to fix a problem, you got to understand that there is a problem. Look around, analyze, see, who am I surrounded by right now? That's very important for building the social circle. We've touched on the value. You want to bring value. You want to be of value to others. Meeting people with similar interests. You want to make sure people are sharing your same goal, at least end goal, or same mindset.
Yeah.
Like, a videographer and a real estate agent can have the same mindset in two different ways.
They can work together, because you have the real estate agent who's maybe listing a house. Now you have a videographer who can give a virtual tour of the house.
Bam! That was fine.
There's always a way to make a connection and make it work somehow. Like I said, it doesn't have to be the same field, but those fields can coincide together.
That videographer could be chasing his grind, and after it, so in such an inspiring way that the real estate agent is like, yo, you know what? I got to get after it too.
Yeah.
Like different fields. Next we had, don't be afraid to ask questions, man.
Please ask questions.
Yeah, please ask questions. Like, you never know. You asking a question might be the value you bring to somebody.
Yeah.
Because how many times, even here, like with this podcast, we hear something and we're like, oh shit, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, exactly. You could ask the person, my fault to cut you off,
good.
But you could ask the person a question about that task maybe, and they're like, oh shit, I never actually thought of that before. Now they're interested in all your thoughts. Every time you have a question, they're interested in hearing.
Like, you're like, it sparks a thought of, oh shit, we think differently.
Yeah.
There might be something of value there.
Yeah, same interest, but different thought processes.
Exactly. Remember, valuable differences.
Yep, exactly. But
before we end, I do want to say a quote, though.
Yeah.
And I want you guys to remember this. And it's, human behavior is incredibly pliable, like plastic. Remember that. You're social, and what you absorb from other people is very, very mendable. It's not sturdy, and remember exposure. So keep that in mind and put valuable people and valuable influences around you, because like plastic, your influences can bend you. Philip Zimbardo.
Nice. All right. Well, with that being said, that's the end of episode 7. It's about social circle. Again, we're the Lost Boyz Podcast, the #1 podcast, not only in Mars, but in the entire Milky Way galaxy. Fun fact. And yeah, with that being said, we're signing out. I'm Gianni.
Brandon.
Peace.
Peace.